Hey there, this is David Breslow, founder of Performance Success Strategies and creator of Wired to Win, the 7 laws, 21 days, play your best golf approach that thousands of golfers all over the world have been using to play their best golf starting today. Not someday, but starting today. So stay tuned for today's tip. In today's tip, I would like to talk to you about how to prepare better for the upcoming season. Now, some of you listening to this are living in a cold weather part of the world. And if that's the case, spring is coming up pretty soon. It'll be here before you know it, and you'll be out hitting balls outdoors at outdoor driving ranges if you're not doing that already. And then even some of the golf courses will be opening up pretty soon. For those of you living in the other side of the world, where it's already summer and you're playing golf now, you'll be able to apply what I'm talking about today just as well. So here's what's really interesting to me. It's astounding to me how many golfers I've spoken to over the years who continue to struggle. And when I say continue to struggle, I mean in how they go about trying to be better. Now, of course, we know that most golfers will look at the mechanics as being the most important thing. So what do? They go take a lesson, or they go to the range, or they work on their swing, constantly working on their swing. But here's one of the things I want you to remember. Your game is much more than your swing. Your game is much more than your mechanics. In fact, when I'm teaching Wired to Win, I'm talking about the only tools, the only part of the mental game that I talk about are these 4 areas that I call your power tools. And they are your mind, your body, your emotions, and your energy. And here's what's interesting to me about so many golfers. They tend to forget that all that stuff is connected. And if they don't put all those things together and put them in alignment, they're not going to play their best golf. So what do most people do? They pick one of those areas, let's say the body. They'll pick the body and go work on mechanic, and then scratch their head when they continue to struggle and they don't know why. So it's just fascinating to me how often so many of you are willing to sabotage yourselves by looking at what's not as important as everything else is. Are mechanics important? Of course they are. I'm not saying that they're not. But if you look at your game, all around performance, it is a combination of how you use your mind, your body, the body's in there, you get it? It includes mechanics, your mind, the body, your emotions, huge part of your game, and your energy. Okay? So when you put all those together, you will discover that they govern how you perform. And in fact, there are laws that function that put those 4 areas in position to be in alignment and to operate at a high level. And when that happens, you will perform better. So, another interesting thing that I see is that so many golfers unconsciously now don't realize that they're trying to work on their game to get better someday. That is the mindset that's out there. It's an unconscious mindset. Someday I'm going to break 80. Someday I'm going to break 100. Someday I'm going to stop allowing water on a par 3 to get in my way. Whatever it is, someday. What would happen if you could be doing those things today and not someday? So here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to sit down with a piece of paper and ask yourself this question. What would my game be like if I was able to get out of my own way? And answer it. I have a funny feeling that just by listening to that question, you probably already have a physical reaction, or what we used to call a bodily felt sense that feels good. Most people, when they hear that question, tend to feel lighter. Their shoulders kind of drop down and they go, ah, yeah, man, if I could get out of my own way, man, I'd be killing it off the first tee. I'd be taking my range swing to the golf course. I'd be handling situations better than I am now. I wouldn't be as negative. My self-talk would be better. All these things start to come up. Isn't that fascinating? Ask the question. What would it be like What would my game be like if I could actually get out of my own way? What would it be like? What if? What if I was able to align my mind, body, emotions, and energy? What would that do to my game? Sit down for a minute and really ponder that. Because if you do, you will come up with some answers automatically welling up from within you that'll be very positive and very meaningful to you. Okay? So, again, it's just interesting to me how many golfers are willing to sabotage themselves by taking the hard road, by taking the long road, by looking for another tip. Ask yourself that question too. Question number 2. How much have the tips that I've heard and read about really helped me? I'm not talking about swing tips right now. I'm talking about tips, any other kind of tip that you've heard, any of the millions of mental game tips that are out there on the internet and in the books that you read and so on and so forth. Ask yourself the question, be honest with yourself. How many of those tips that I've heard or read have really helped me? And how long have they helped me? Okay. So, question number 1, what would my game be like if I really could get out of my way? Question number 2, how have the tips that I've heard about or read about and applied really helped me? And have they helped me for an extended period of time? Be honest with yourself. And now I'm going to give you what I call a pre-law for the laws that I teach in the Wired to Win program. You see, you have to understand, if those of you who know me, I don't talk about psychology. I don't talk about tips. I don't talk about theories. I talk about laws. Laws that once you understand them, and they're not difficult, your game will change today, not someday. And here's one of the laws I want you to listen to right now. It's not one of the main laws, it's a pre-law, I call it. And that law is, the more honest you are with yourself, the quicker you get what you want. The more honest you are with yourself, the quicker you get what you want. Are you willing to be honest? So what does that really mean? That really means that what you're willing to see, you can change. What you're not willing to see, you don't have a chance. You don't have a shot at changing it, okay? That's not my opinion. Take anybody you've ever taken a lesson with, or any advice you've gotten. If it was correct and it was dealing with an issue that you really have and you rejected it and you resisted it, didn't that make your change more difficult? Of course it did. If you're not willing to be honest with yourself, whatever you're trying to improve and get better at, you just made much more difficult for yourself. So be honest. Answer the 2 questions. If I got out of my own way, what would my game be like? Answer it. And answer the other question. Of all the tips and little tricks and things I've tried over the years, how much has my game really changed? And was it very consistent over time? Be honest. Because I've asked these questions to every golfer I've ever spoken to, and the answers are pretty darn similar across the board. And I can pretty well guess that your answers are going to be pretty darn close to the same as I've heard over the years. But I'm not going to throw it out there because I don't want to put that suggestion in your mind. I want you to answer the question. I want you to seriously consider being honest with yourself and stop running around sabotaging yourself, doing things that aren't really helping. Do you really want to do that? Do you really want to do that? So whatever it is you choose to do, whatever teacher you go with, whatever program you're interested in, or if you don't do anything to help your game, whatever it is that you do, just at least be honest with yourself so you can put yourself in position to play your best golf more consistently. After all, isn't that what everybody wants? So, Dave Breslow, glad to be back here with you. Ask and answer those 2 questions. And I hope today's little mental golf tip was helpful to you. And you're more than welcome to leave some comments in cyberspace. You're also more than welcome to visit me and learn more about me and the Wired to Win program at www.mentalgolfcoaching.com. So Dave Breslow, I look forward to talking to you next time. Take care.